Growing up in Jacksonville, man, I'm just grateful to make it out. A lot of my friends are in jail. I have a friend on death row for my football team. He was the youngest person ever to be put on death row in Florida. History at the age of 19. Other friends and old teammates in jail for murder. Growing up, looking at my peers and knowing my community, the only way out that a lot of us knew was sports. Um, so athletics was a really, obviously, a serious thing. Still is today. I mean, all over the country, obviously. But in my community, it's different if you can play ball. Um, there was, there weren't a lot of kids who took grades serious, and there weren't a lot of kids who did obviously community service or who went out and did those things to be different. But my parents pushed me to be a part of that change. Like, Nick, you can change the culture at your school. You know, you can change the culture on your team. You don't have to just go to class and just do work and just barely get by. You know, it's okay to succeed and it's okay to make A's and B's. And so a lot of times with my friends and my peers, it was fighting the stigma really of the city or just the stigma of the time back then that, you know, whatever it is, you know, whatever it takes to get by. Um, but I wanted to, I guess it's just a lonely road. It was a lonely road and it still is. I saw my friends and how they struggled. I saw my family and how they struggled. So I just kind of went on my own path on my own, and I hate to say it, I was alone. I lost a lot of friends when I signed my scholarship to go to school. I actually lost all of them. But I had to take that step because I wanted more for me. And whether that meant, you know, I see you guys later or not, I mean, I kind of had to do what I had to do. Um, but a part of that too was that toxic culture that my coach created. I'm sure he turned us against one another. And unfortunately, I wish there was an easy answer for his hatred or for his mistreatment of us. But unfortunately, he was also an African American male with a predominantly African American football team. We had two white kids on my team, actually three. Well, two were Native American and white, but we had three, and everyone else was black. So, um, but regardless, I mean, I don't know his motivation, but I just knew my outcome had to be different than everyone else's. Um, it hurt a lot to see a lot of my friends go to school um, and struggle to make good grades. Like they were trying and they couldn't do it. When I was in high school, I remember walking down to the weight room. I had gotten word from a friend that, hey, there's schools in town and they're picking people up in a van. They're going to take them back for the weekend. So I'm like, man, how come I don't know about this, right? So I run to the weight room and I see my coach. I say, hey, I heard, you know, XYZ is going on. What's happening? He said, oh, I didn't think you wanted to go. And I'm like, why would you think that if I don't have a scholarship? You know, it's signing days a week, 2 weeks away. I don't have a scholarship. You know, I'm trying to go to school. That was the first time I think I cried at school. I had to go in the bathroom, and I remember crying in the bathroom, and then I had to get my lift in. So that was the day I changed my attitude because I also started seeing a lot of my teammates and my ex teammates that had already graduated kind of come back around and say, "Well, you kind of knew this was coming." You know, everyone said he's not going to care about you when it's time to graduate. So in my head, I used that as motivation because all of my friends didn't make it. As I went through those obstacles, I kind of started to learn to trust myself. Um, but I also still didn't trust others, if that still made sense, because I still kind of held on to that piece of me growing up that, you know, there's going to be an adult that's going to let you down again like your coach did. Or there's going to be somebody else that you probably really can't really tell all your business to because who knows, right? Um, raised in my community, I was taught not to show your emotions. You know, if you're happy, you know, don't let everybody know how happy you are. And if you accomplish something, you don't brag or speak on it because that's bragging, right? So a lot of those wins that I had them in silence. So it still was a trust issue with that. Even to this day, my mom called me yesterday and said this, and she said, "You got all this going on, you didn't tell me." I just sorry. Still working on it, right? But I will say that I try to teach my students that if you feel that if you feel that you can't trust anyone, you know, you can't trust me because I'm still learning to trust me too, right? So I can trust you too, and we're gonna work this thing together. I've had the pleasure working with a lot of great kids, um, and just stepping into a room where when a child knows that you care, they'll tell you everything, and they'll also run through a wall for you.